Hi, hello, welcome to Spell Day. We're covering a spell every single day of the year from the 5e PHB +3. Those +3 spells are homebrew spells. We're at +1 at the moment. You can get back in the playlist to find it. And today's spell is Levitate.
Are they helium balloons? I told you, the car's not here. Balloons. It's too late. Oh, we're flying away.
Second level transmutation, casting time for 1 action, range of 60 feet, components of verbal somatic material, either a small leather loop or a piece of gold wire bent into a cup shape with a long shank on one end. What? Duration, concentration, up to 10 minutes. That's an ore. That's an ore in the material components. Huh. One creature or object of your choice that you can see within range rises vertically up to 200 feet and remains suspended there for the duration. The spell can levitate a target that weighs up to 500 pounds. An unlevitating creature that succeeds on a Constitution saving throw is unaffected. Target can move only by pushing or pulling against a fixed object or surface within reach, such as a wall or ceiling, which allows it to move as if it were climbing. You can change the target's altitude by up to 20 feet in either direction on your turn. If you're the target, you can move up or down as part of your move. Otherwise, you can use your action to move the target, which must remain within the spell's range. When the spell ends, the target floats gently to the ground as if still aloft. Welcome to instantly disabling any melee creature. Reading back through, we have another one of forgetting a spell or not using it that often, so you don't think about it and you forget some of its effects. This is a weird one. We're gonna have some chats. Second level already, not that bad. 60-foot range, not that bad. 1 action, great. Concentration up to 10 minutes. Concentration hurts it depending on other effects and abilities you're working on, but with some of the feature, with some situations, this can instantly end a fight. Namely because of something I forgot at the end of it. Also the fact it lasts 10 minutes. I thought this was 1 minute. So, target that's 500 pounds, object or creature, lift it up. Objects cannot make the save. That's good. Creatures, if they're not willing, make a saving throw. A con save, which is a weird choice, but I can kind of get it. Which, again, usually a weak save because a lot of monsters have a high con, and a lot of beefier targets have high con in general just for health. But the big thing with that save is if they fail, there's no repeat. As long as you're holding concentration for that 10 minutes, they're up, or someone casts Dispel Magic, they're up there. They're just up in the air now. And something, and one big part I forgot, the 20 foot. So when you cast Levitate, you can be within any range of that 20 feet on the initial cast. After that, however, you can spend your action to have them move in either direction 20 feet every turn, but you can hold them there. You don't have to use an action to focus on it. They'll stay in that same altitude if you just keep concentrating and don't use your action. If you use your action, then you can move them even more. But the fact that you can cast Levitate on a creature, let's say an enemy, we're not even getting to the melee combos here, but the fact that you can just cast it on them, they failed the first save, every turn you're spending an action, 20 feet up, 20 feet up, 20 feet up, 20 feet up, depending on how you rule fall damage, you're gonna have a splatter on the ground. Or just keep sending them away, because you can't drop them without ending the spell. Because that would end instantly. Because if you want to lower them, you have to use an action to keep the spell as well, and that'll only lower them 20 feet. And, oh no, I'm forgetting. Wizards thought of this, excuse me, I forgot that clause, of the fact that when the spell ends, they'll just gently float to the ground as if still alive. Built-in feather fall for Levitate. Not that bad if you're using it on your allies and you lose concentration. Now, when I originally thought this spell, I didn't know, or I did not remember that you could adjust the height past 20 feet. I thought within that 20 feet, you can have them go up or down. I'm like, that's pretty limiting. And that you stayed only 20 feet above the ground. No, so if you went somewhere else, which was a lower height, you'd fall to just 20 feet above that. No, you're locked in that position. Let's say you cast Levitate at the top of a cliff, you go up 20 feet, and you move off the edge of the cliff. You're still at that same height. You're still at the same altitude. It's changing the altitude, not your height appropriate to the ground. So you just keep floating. Okay, as dumb as it gets, flying speed will overcome this. You can then just move. I mean, you don't have much control over your altitude. You can try and force against it, but when it comes to creatures that don't have flight, let's say you gave some gnomish inventor these paddle glider wings or arms, Icarus type of thing. The wax feather wings. With Levitate, you just flap away. You'll be moving slowly, I think. I'm not that much into aerodynamics. There's also the potential of using this as a platform. I mean, theoretically, 500 pounds, if you... I'm trying to think of how large of a material you can get up to 500 pounds. Because that is a lot. That's almost half a ton. That is half a ton. Is that half a ton? God, I'm revealing how bad at math I am. Anywho, you can cast this onto a platform, or a lid, or a table, and now you have a hovering piece of terrain on the inside of a battlefield. Or help you solve a puzzle. Throw out a disc, cast Levitate on it in a pit, you have it rise up to the top of the pit. You now have a stepping stone. So that pit you previously couldn't make the full jump over, if you don't have the jump spell, you can now hop, land on the object if you're not over the weight capacity, then jump over again. And now the combat one, casting this on a creature. So you can't do the fall damage one. That's fine, they have the claws in, I figured, because that would be busted. It's still busted though. Have your party with melee with reach weapons, or ranged attacks. Either or, that works out. Melee target coming over to you doesn't have range or spell casting. Perhaps a monster, if it's under 500 pounds, or a barbarian raging at you, or a random town guard, or a specific assassin, cast Levitate, have them raise up, just within range of reach weapons, or ranged weapons, and just so they're out of range of you. And objects that they could grab onto. If they don't have any means of flying, and they don't have any means of grabbing onto something, they are stuck there for the full duration of 10 minutes, until you drop concentration. If it's a singled out and a melee enemy, they're dead. You've won that fight. Again, if you have range or reach weapons, but you're a caster. You likely have a ranged cantrip of some kind. The fish in a barrel. They can't get to you. It's not, sure, they're not paralyzed. Sure, they're not stunned, but their movement's 0. It doesn't stay it that way because, you know, if they have fly or some other means of moving terrain-wise, climbing-wise. But if they're not in range of anything and they don't have wings, they're at 0. And even if the creature teleports, you can adjust their altitude after because the spell's still on them. And you've just won. That creature has 0 movement. Sure, if they move out of your 60-foot range, so if a gust of wind or something blows them out or they manage to crawl out, then the spell fails or ends. But if you stay within 60 feet, spell's staying on them. You can even carry them around like a kite, just tie a rope around them and just bring the bandit into the sheriff's town or the recent dungeon, parade them around the streets. It's bringing a creature's movement to 0 and specifically being able to move them out of range. Or another fun one. Again, they only have the one save. If they stay within range, you're fine. Hunger of Vidar, or Incinerating Cloud, or Insect Plague, any of those terrain spells that you can keep them in also are not just on the ground, but have a bubble or area that they affect over that course of those minutes if you have someone else holding concentration on them. So multiple spellcasters at this point. Target a creature that's either in there, or just a creature at the moment, cast it on them, lift them up, someone casts a spell underneath them, you just keep pulling them in and out, or keep them in just to a point where they can't reach or grab anything. They can't move. They are stuck there for that turn. It's as if you paralyzed them. They're gonna die. You've won that fight. 7 out of 10, sleeper pick. I'm going to be using this now.